Oosh. Let's do this again. Hello you guys, welcome back. Ew. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to talk to you about my new MacBook Air and how I set it up and what's on it. I'll go through a couple of my favorite apps, my favorite settings, and let's get into it. But before we start, I do have this Casetify case on it, and this is not a sponsor, believe it or not, but I've actually been really loving it because I used to have a Casetify case for my old MacBook, and it was really clunky, but now it's a lot better. It's a lot slimmer. And I was gonna put a photo card on here, but the texture is actually matte. I don't know if you can see it, but if you put a picture in it, you can't see it. I hate it a little bit in that respect, but all other stuff about it, I love. I've just been using this case because I don't want any scratches on my laptop, and I'm scared I will drop it. So as you can see here, this is my desktop wallpaper. This is a picture I took of me and my sister at the beach. This is one of the stores, and this is my sister and I just thought it was a really cute picture, so I set it as my desktop wallpaper. And as you can see, I don't have anything on my desktop because I don't want to put any of my files here to clunk up the space. I just want to be able to look at the picture, and yeah, that is why it is empty. And I do have Stage Manager on from the new Mac OS. I don't know if you know what Stage Manager is, but essentially it's where your computer organizes your windows for you. So for instance, I have my browser open and I can have my other app open, and my all other windows will be on the side instead of stacked with each other. And that is really cool because it is more organized. But sometimes I do like to turn it off when it is too hard to control. Like for instance, I have it turned off on my work computer because I have a couple of monitors anyway, so I can move all the windows around, and it is kind of annoying for me to drag the windows from one display to another display if I have Stage Manager on. So depending on how your workflow is, it is definitely worth checking out, especially if you have a smaller monitor like mine. The first app that I will install when I first get a new computer is called Raycast. And what Raycast is essentially just like Apple's Spotlight, where you just ask Siri a bunch of questions and you can get your answers, but it is way more powerful because it has more integrations with different apps. So for instance, you can search Google, you can define your word, you can search your files, you can go to the store to look for different integrations. There are way more you can do with this. One of my favorite integrations is the Notion integration, because then you can search your entire Notion and create some database page right from Raycast instead of having to head into Notion. My other favorite is Windows Management. So as you can see here, this window is like janky wanky on the side here. So if I want to maximize it to utilize my screen real estate, I could just say maximize and it will be maximized. And another thing that I really like in Raycast is its translate feature. So I can just say anything in another language and it can detect the language and translate it to English for me. You can also change your language sets from here. You can also convert currency. I also really like using the clipboard manager for everything that I need to keep in my clipboard, because sometimes you need to copy multiple things from one page and then paste them to another page one by one, and you don't want to go back and forth, and that is really good for that as well. So whenever I have time, I just like to go into the Raycast store and look for some integrations that maybe I missed or are new to download them to make my workflow easier. But this is just my first app that I have to download because it is too important in my workflow to not use. I basically just only open my apps through Raycast and not through anything else. And now you might have noticed that my dock is on the left side of my screen, and there are two reasons for that. The first one is because on my work desktop, I do have my dock on the left side because I have my drawing tablet under my main monitor. So if I want to go to my drawing tablet, I have to navigate through the bottom of my main screen. So it's inconvenient to place it at the bottom. And also on my right side of the screen, I have a long monitor. It is the best to place it on the left, and I'm the most used to it being on the left, so that's why it is on the left. But as I said before, I don't really use it for opening apps. I just use it to look at which apps are open and which apps are closed, so I can close apps that I'm not using. Another reason I have it on the left is because when you open an app like so, and maximize it, you will see that there is a gap where the dock is. And if the dock is at the bottom, the information that you can see at a glance is way less. If it's on the left and it's just hindering the horizontal amount of information shown, it's not really that big of a deal because you can always close these sidebars to make more space. So I like it on the left so there can be more vertical space. So the second app that I would like to share is also one of the most important apps that I have to download. It is called Arc. It's a browser that is invitation based for now, but I really love it because it is the most powerful browser I've ever used before. So it is a Chromium browser, which means you can use all of your Chrome extensions that you're using now with this browser, but the experience is just way different. So on the left side here, you can see that there is a search bar where you can search for anything or enter any URL. Here we have 4 pinned tabs of my most frequently visited websites, or the websites I want to keep tab of. I don't know why you are here, but I just have my Google, my Gmail, my YouTube, and my Twitter. You can put it like this. And then here you will see work, which is one of the spaces that I have in my browser. So I have my personal off time space and my workspace. And then in my workspace, I have this thing called an easel, which is one of the things that I love the most about Arc, which is that you can take a live screenshot from any page and paste it onto the easel, and it will live update for you. So you can see here I have my channel analytics and my shop analytics just in here. So I look at the information from 2 different websites just in one place. And then I have 4 folders for my other tabs that I categorize them so I could look through them easier. You can also search through them if the folders gets too clunky, but I like to keep it minimal, so there are just like 3 to 4 tabs in each of the folders. At the bottom here, you can also see that there are some other tabs that are open that I could pin them, or I could unpin them, could close them, and that is the sidebar. You also have your standard browser shortcuts like Command L for changing a URL, Command T for a new tab, and Command Shift C to copy the current URL, etc. I've just been really loving Arc because all of the spaces, all of the tabs are synced across my 2 desktops, and the design of this browser is just really, really amazing. And I think their philosophy of trying to make their browser more fun and intuitive to use is really what I want, exactly what I want, and I'm just enjoying using this browser so much. A fun little detail is that when you create an account for Arc, you get this little membership card that generates a title for you, and mine is Naive Perfectionist. That I think it matches me so well. And there's also this color thingy. You can also randomize it if you don't think it matches you. You can save it, and it even says when you joined Arc. Just the little things that make you a little bit more obsessed with this browser. But there are actually way more features in Arc that I haven't explored myself because I just really frankly don't need this advanced of a feature yet, but I'm just loving using Arc every day. So I do have some gift codes for Arc that I wanted to share with you guys because, as I said, Arc is still invitation based only. So if you guys wanted to use this browser, you would need an invite. In the comments below, you guys can comment your favorite Mac OS app and why you like it, what you use it for, and also add your Instagram handle in the comments so I could send you the gift code maybe after my Korea trip. So yeah, comment below your favorite Mac OS app and I will send you the invite link. And the third app is Notion. Notion is self-explanatory. A really cool feature that has came out recently that I've really liked is AI, Notion AI. I've just been using it a lot for like summaries, actionable items, etc. So for example, we have this upcoming Korea trip with my sister, and we made this entire page of all of the places we want to go, our accommodation, all of the things. And we wanted to make a packing list, but obviously packing list stuff are pretty standard and you don't want to write them yourself one by one, but you're afraid you're gonna miss something, right? The thing you can do is go here, press space for AI, and ask it to make a packing list for a 1-week trip to Seoul. But I don't want it to be a bullet list. I want it to be a to-do list. So make that a checklist. So then obviously we can go through all of these items and make changes as needed, but you can see that this is a really great starting point for everything that we need on this trip. And it even took my instruction of it being 1 week for the numbers of clothing that we would need. If you want to see more of my Notion setup, be sure to comment below so I will know whether to make one. And the next app that I wanted to share is Capacities. I've also talked about this app before, but I didn't want to make a dedicated video on it until they had an iOS app, and I am so excited because yesterday I received their test flight email at like 4 a.m. Right when I woke up, I saw the email and I had to download it instantly. What Capacities is basically a second brain app for personal knowledge management that is really good. So you can store a bunch of things that you want to remember. So like tweets, like movies you've watched. And the thing that I like the most about Capacities is the tag system, because as you might know, even though Notion allows for you to make databases and tags, they don't really share across the entire Notion. And if you wanted to make a database for your tags and then for those tags to have a relation to all of the other databases, it is really, really tedious to set up and it's really complicated. But it is built into Capacities, so you can just tag anything. So for example, in my daily note yesterday, I was writing about trying DaVinci Resolve for video editing, and I tagged hashtag apps because I use this hashtag to document anything that I discovered or have changed that is related to me trying out apps. So I tagged it apps and I can look through my app journal essentially. I also have databases on movies and TV shows that I like and have watched, and I have my commentary on them. One thing that I like to use the most is my smile tag. So anything that I came across that made me smile or that I really liked, I will tag it with a smile tag so I can go back into this tag and have a good smile essentially. And the next app that I really love is called Noteplan. What it is essentially a bullet journaling app where you can just write anything in bullet form. But the most important and most amazing thing about this app is that they have a timeline and they also have weekly, monthly, and yearly notes. And what I mean by that is in the today view, obviously I can write anything in here in bullet form, in to-do form, and I can make a quote, I can make anything, and I can check off the to-dos, right? On the top here, you can see the weekly note. So this is the week 10 note. In here, I can go into the week 10 note and I can see the things that is in here. So maybe I want to prep for Korea trip, and in all of my daily notes, I will be able to see that bullet for this week because that is the weekly remark of this week. And in our weekly note, we can also make a to-do, and throughout the week, we can also see the to-do. And let's say in this day, we finished this to-do and we can check it off. Then it will disappear from the list because you're no longer needed to be reminded of that task. But when we go into the weekly note, you can see that it is done on so-and-so date and so-and-so time. So it is really, really convenient for you to keep track of everything compared to a traditional pen and paper. And I really enjoy the process of bullet journaling because it allows you to have essentially no structure and just write down everything that is on your mind. But I really don't like bullet journaling on pen and paper because it is a little bit chaotic to have to move every single to-do or move events to another date or when something comes up or you have to change something. So having a system like this in digital form is really, really amazing. And the greatest thing is also it syncs with your calendar. So as you can see, there's an event, International Women's Day. You can also add an event in the timeline, and your bullet journal tasks can also be added as a time block or as an event. The difference is when you add a time block, it only shows up in your Noteplan app. You will have your time period here. You can change the time period and that time will be blocked. But when you add it as an event, it will be in your calendar, so you can change it to your calendar. So that was Noteplan for any of the minimalist planners out there that love bullet journaling but also want a digital solution. And then another app that I've been loving lately is this time tracking Pomodoro app called Session. Essentially, it's a Pomodoro app where you can choose the category of the task you're doing and name it and then have a really cute timeline of it. And the reason why I love this is because of the design. It's really, really amazing. All the analytics, so beautiful, so amazing, spectacular. And it also has this little timeline feature where they show you your Google Calendar events on the left side and they show you your focus times on the right side. So it's really nice for you to do a comparison of what is planned on your time block and what actually comes out of it. So you can have a little comparison of your expectations versus the reality. And this app is also available on iOS, so you don't have to turn on your computer every time you want to track your time. And now for some utility apps. I really have been loving CleanMyMac for cleaning my Mac because, funny story, I was uploading all of my video editing files to Google Drive, and after I uploaded them, I have to delete them off my SSD, right? Because I don't want them to clunk up my SSD, and that is the point. But when you go to delete them, the system always tells you that, oh, this file is in use, so you can't delete it. And this file is open, whatever, so you can't delete it. And it just is all in your computer, and it's so annoying. You can't delete it, and it's not even open anywhere. So that's why I decided to install CleanMyMac, and it helped me delete it, and my Mac is so much quicker now. So I definitely recommend this to anyone who has trouble organizing their computer, or their computer is really old or slow. And another app that I want to recommend is Bartender. I use Bartender to hide all of the junk in the menu bar, because when there's too much information on the menu bar, it's just annoying and you can't really get to any information that you need. So it hides everything. Something in this 3-dot menu, you can still have access to it, or you can also choose some things to be permanently hidden so you won't have access to them at all. And that's a really good way to keep your screen nice and clean. The second last app that I wanted to share is called Yoink. And it sounds weird, I know, but it's actually a great essential that I use in my daily life. So what it is basically just like a little cabinet that you put your files in. So let's say I want to move these photos. Also, look at these photos. They're so nice. I took them. Let's say I want to move these photos to a folder. I have to click on it. I have to drag it. I have to go to whichever thing that I want to move it to. And then I have to put it down here. But wait, I actually wanted to make a folder to put all these photos in. So, do I let go or do I say escape? That is just so annoying and so clunky, and your finger cannot be lifted off the trackpad, or else it gets dropped to I don't know where. And that's just so nice. So you need a cabinet. Simply select it all, and when you move them, you can see the little cabinet. You throw them to the cabinet. 5 files are selected, these 5 files exactly. And then you can go to the place you desire, make your folder, testing, whatever. You can then drag the files to where you want to move them. And that is just really amazing. You can just gather everything you want to move around, anything at all. If I'm not mistaken, you can even go to Google and drag any other image as well. So images.jpg. Let's say I want to save it to Capacities as a TV show, The Glory. I want to edit this image. I want to drag and drop this. So now you can see that it has been changed, and it's just so easy because you don't have to worry about not lifting your finger from your trackpad anymore. And then the last app that I wanted to share is Cleanshot X that I'm using to record this screen recording right now. It is a screenshot/screen recording app that I've been loving lately. So to use this app, you first have to go into system settings and disable the default shortcuts for the screenshots. So you go into keyboard shortcuts and then screenshots, turn them all off, and then you'll be able to use Cleanshot as your default. So the reason why it's so amazing is because it allows more flexibility. So you know when you use the default screenshot thing, you just take a screenshot, the screenshot goes to the right side of the screen for God knows how long, and then it goes away. And then you forget where it is. You want to make some annotations, but you miss the timing. You'll never see it again. The screenshot never sees the light of day ever again. And that is just annoying. But what happens with Cleanshot, so let's say I want to screenshot this thumbnail for future reference, and I could select this area, and when I release, the screenshot has been taken and it is gonna be here. I could crop it, I could add whatever, add some shapes, add some arrows, I could copy it, and then I can paste it, whatever. And I'm using it as my screen recorder as well, so you can see when I do a click, there is a blue circle thing, and when I type there, it shows you the command keys that I'm typing. And they also have this thing called scroll. Choose part of the screen, so maybe this part of the screen, I don't know. You can do scrolling, say auto scroll, and it will scroll for you. and it would just be a long ass screenshot. So maybe, for example, you want to share a Tumblr post with someone, you want to share an article with someone in picture form, you can always do this and it will just be a really, really long screenshot that you can annotate. I don't really have a lot of apps set up in this computer because it's mainly my administration, emailing, web browsing, video watching, entertainment kind of computer. If I wanted to work for a little bit at home, I could still have access to all of my like browser pages, pinned tabs, Capacities, second brain stuff, Notion stuff. It's still on here, but in general, I just try to keep everything on my MacBook really, really, really minimal so I could find what I want really quickly. So yeah, that was it for my little MacBook tour. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave me a like and maybe subscribe, maybe leave a comment if you want the invite to Arc the browser, and I'll see you next time in another video.